Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going to plunge right into the roaring heart of rock music.
Yeah, focusing on those really pivotal decades, the 60s and 70s.
Exactly, because rock, it's so much more than just the sound, isn't it? It's like this living archive.
hmm Capturing cultural shifts, societal changes, all that raw human emotion.
Yeah, music that made us move, sure, but also stuff that made us feel and maybe think a bit more critically.
And our mission, really, for this deep dive is to kind of unearth those key moments, shine a light on the artists who really broke ground.
And find those connections, maybe surprising ones, that show how rock just kept reinventing itself.
Absolutely. It wasn't just one style. It became this powerful global force. And we've got some great sources for you, historical accounts, artist profiles, even some amazing festival insights.
Stuff that really brings the era to life.
Definitely.
Okay, so to really get those shifts in the 60s and 70s, we kind of have to go back, right? Back to rock's DNA.
To its birthplace, yeah.
Yeah.
The U.S., late 40s, early 50s, rock and roll.
And what's fascinating is that blend at the start. African-American rhythm and blues, that driving energy.
And gospel harmonies, the soulfulness.
Mixed with, like, the storytelling from country music, all fused together.
Yeah, into something totally new. You think of those early pioneers, Chuck Berry, Little Richard.
Elvis, Fats Domino, their hits like Rocket 88 or Barry's Maybelline, that guitar riff.
Iconic. It really showed how you could take country storytelling and smash it together with bluesy solos. It set a blueprint, really.
And you can't forget Bill Haley and his Comets, Rock Around the Clock.
Oh, massive. That was a huge cultural milestone. Almost overnight impact.
But then it's interesting, right? After that explosion in the early 60s, rock and roll seemed to kind of hit a wall.
Yeah, creatively it felt a bit like it was standing still, maybe even getting a bit tame.
Right.
But that quiet period, I mean, it wasn't really a decline. It was more like an incubation phase.
Yeah.
You had all these other sounds bubbling up. Soul music, for instance. Sam Cooke, James Brown.
Live at the Apollo, what an album.
Incredible. Laying down grooves that rock would definitely pick up on later, that emotional depth.
And then there were the dance crazes, like the twist.
Oh, yeah, Chubby Checker. Everyone was doing it. Plus, you had these, really elaborate orchestral arrangements popping up in recordings.
Doo-wop, like Ben E. King.
And Phil Spector.
Yeah.
Perfecting his wall of sound.
Ah, the wall of sound. For groups like the Ronettes.
Exactly. Layering tons of instruments, creating this massive, dense sound. Totally groundbreaking production for the time.
That's such a good point. All these different things happening at once, kind of building up this hidden potential.
Precisely. And then, out west, California, you get surf rock.
Translating the sun and waves into music.
Totally. Dominated by guitar and drum instrumentals at first, like the Ventures. But the Beach Boys really took it mainstream.
And even they were borrowing, right? Surfing USA.
Yeah, influenced by Chuck Berry's Sweet Little 16. Shows how those foundations were still crucial.
And Brian Wilson, their secret weapon, even early on.
Oh, absolutely. Chief songwriter, producer, pushing melodies, harmonies, even on hits like In My Room.
And then there was garage rock. Raw, unpolished.
Like the Kingsmen's Louie Louie, that raw energy.
Yeah.
Apparently they deliberately messed up their amps to get that sound.
Wild. So yeah, this period feels maybe a little fragmented. Lots going on, but...
Sort of searching. But then the country's mood just shifted dramatically. After JFK's assassination, there was this real need for something uplifting.
And boom, here comes the British invasion, starting 63, 64. A total seismic shift.
Yeah, and what's so interesting is how these British bands were digging deep into American blues and R&B.
And then basically selling it back to American audiences, but with this new energy, their own style.
Exactly. Take the Beatles. Formed in Liverpool, 1960. What was so pioneering about them early on?
They wrote their own stuff, right? Lennon and McCartney.
Yeah, one of the first big bands where the members wrote and performed their material. A songwriting powerhouse.
And after I Want to Hold Your Hand hit #1 in 63, forget about it.
Exploded. The Ed Sullivan
Yeah.
Show performance. Legendary.
They just dominated. Didn't they have, like, the entire top 5 singles one week?
They did. 14 songs in the Hot 100 at one point.
Yeah.
Just complete musical omnipresence. Hard to even imagine now.
Yeah, totally. And they started focusing on albums as, like, complete artistic statements. Rubber Soul, Revolver.
And even their movie, A Hard Day's Night.
Kind of like a precursor to music videos, MTV, capturing their vibe.
It really was a revolution, a new model for what a band could be.
And then you contrast that with the Rolling Stones, London, 1962.
The Bad Boys.
Definitely cultivated that image. Rock excess, wild shows, lyrics pushing boundaries.
It's like painted black, no satisfaction.
Yeah.
Define their sound. And it's funny, that satisfaction riff.
Keith Richards originally heard it for horns.
Yeah, shows how they were taking elements from R&B or jazz and just twisting them into these raw guitar hooks. That tension was key.
And there were other big British bands, too. The Kinks. You really got me.
Seen as a precursor to punk, even early hard rock. Those distorted power chords were intense for the time.
And The Who, smashing their gear on stage.
Their auto-destructive art on the Smothers Brothers show, turning rock into this visceral spectacle.
Can't forget the Yardbirds either. Launchpad for guitar legends.
Clapton, Beck, Jimmy Page. Incredible lineup over time.
So the British invasion wasn't just a fad. It really set the stage for the 70s legends.
Absolutely. Crucial foundation. They popularized that self-contained rock group idea. Bands writing, playing, having a distinct identity. That became the standard.
Right.
And their roots in blues and R&B.
Yeah.
Directly fed into bands like Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath in the 70s, building on that heavier bluesy bass.
Plus the studio experimentation.
Totally. Pushing boundaries with sounds, production, songwriting. That paved the way for more complex stuff later. Psychedelic, progressive, hard rock.
And just the attitude, right? That spirit of rebellion, artistic integrity.
The 70s legends definitely embraced and amplified that.
So all this leads into the late 60s, which feels like a real renaissance for rock.
Yeah, boundaries getting pushed everywhere, pounding rhythms, provocative lyrics.
And, well, a lot of drug experimentation factoring in.
Definitely fueled some of it. Psychedelic rock really bloomed then.
Dreamy lyrics, effects, exploring new sounds. Consciousness expansion, right?
Yeah. Think Pink Floyd. Formed mid-60s. What's amazing about them isn't just the deep lyrics or cool sounds.
It's how they built entire albums like Dark Side of the Moon.
Exactly. These immersive sonic journeys, tackling themes like madness, alienation. Rock hadn't really done that so directly before.
And this wasn't just happening in the music, it was tied to the whole culture, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Then you had the Grateful Dead. Super experimental.
Blending everything, rock, jazz, bluegrass, folk.
And famous for those long improvisational live shows. Every concert different.
Even the Beatles got deep into psychedelia with Strap Pepper.
A landmark.
Yeah.
Designed as a studio creation. Experimental sounds, backward drums. The whole thing culminating in A Day in the Life. Just magnificent.
And other key psych artists, The Doors, Jim Morrison.
Yeah, his defiance. The whole Light My Fire controversy on TV.
And the Velvet Underground. Very direct lyrics about drugs, sex.
And Andy Warhol's Banana cover. Iconic. It all connected to that broader San Francisco hippie movement.
Peace, love, unity. Experimenting with drugs, self-expression.
The Summer of Love in '67.
It was this huge cultural moment, but while psychedelia was exploring inner space, rock was also getting heavier, right?
Yes, simultaneously. It's fascinating. That raw energy from early rock and roll really laid the groundwork for harder styles.
Led Zeppelin, formed 68.
Pioneered that blend of blues and hard rock, iconic layered sound, Jimmy Page's guitar work, just incredible.
Stairway to Heaven from Led Zeppelin IV became the classic rock anthem.
And Page's production work was key, using mics, room sound to get those massive drums and guitars. Revolutionary stuff.
And then Black Sabbath, also 68, often credited with basically inventing heavy metal.
Definitely. Darker themes, that unique kind of eerie sound, haunting lyrics.
And Tony Iommi's guitar riffs, heavy, detuned, shaped by his accident, right, with his fingertips.
Yeah, that defined their style. And it's funny, Steppenwolf's Born to be Wild in '68.
Had that lyric, heavy metal thunder.
Probably introduced the term heavy metal to most people right there.
And amidst all this heavy sound and psychedelia, we shouldn't forget Motown and R&B, adding soul, depth.
Absolutely crucial. Marvin Gaye, the Prince of Motown, blending soul and rock so masterfully.
What's going on in 71? More than a song, it was a statement. Social issues.
Huge impact. And Aretha Franklin, the Queen of Soul, that voice.
Her version of Respect in 67, just transcendent.
Became an anthem, didn't it? For civil rights, for feminism, way beyond the charts.
Just shows how many threads were weaving together. Rock was becoming this huge, diverse thing.
Definitely absorbing and transforming everything.
And if one event captured that whole late 60s counterculture vibe and rock's peak, it's got to be Woodstock, right?
Yeah.
August 69.
Oh, absolutely. The defining moment. Symbolizing peace, love, unity.
The setting itself is legendary. Max Yasgur's dairy farm in Bethel, New York.
After getting rejected by other towns?
Yeah, they expected maybe 50,000 people.
And hundreds of thousands showed up. Chaos.
Yeah.
Traffic jams for miles.
People just leaving their cars, walking, police shutting down the throughway.
The scale was just unprecedented. But the spirit of the crowd facing that chaos, pretty remarkable.
Totally. The stories are amazing. Sweetwater, the opening act, stuck in traffic.
So Richie Havens had to go on first and improvise Freedom for like 7 encores.
Incredible. And he loved it so much he asked for his ashes to be scattered there. Shows the impact.
Wow.
But the conditions? Challenging is an understatement.
Yeah.
Ravi Shankar playing sitar during thunderstorms.
Turning the whole place into a sea of mud.
Yeah, there's that account from Hendrik Hertzberg about soaked sleeping bags, feet sloshing past your head all night.
Yikes. Despite that, though, pretty relaxed atmosphere, security-wise.
Oh, yeah. Open drug use. No arrests for drugs. LSD, marijuana everywhere. That famous puff smoke cloud.
Smoke camps set up openly.
Food was a big problem, too. The official vendors got overwhelmed, started price gouging.
Charging $1 for a hot dog, which was crazy then, led to stands getting burned down.
Some did, yeah. Luckily, the Hog Farm Collective stepped in, handing out granola, that communal spirit.
And the accounts of sex and nudity, seen as just a natural part of the bonding, the kinship.
So Woodstock became way more than just a festival.
A profound cultural moment, yeah. Defining event of the hippie era. Peace, love, unity ideals. Showing music's power to unite people during tough times like Vietnam, civil rights struggles.
It really amplified rock's voice for social commentary.
Definitely. Artists addressing big issues like Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young later writing Ohio about Kent State.
Cemented music as a force for change.
Absolutely. And the performances. Jimi Hendrix, that Star-Spangled Banner.
Playing Monday Morning to a smaller crowd, but it became legendary after the film.
Totally raw. The Who playing all of Tommy, one of the first rock operas. Janis Joplin, Santana.
Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, only their second gig together as a supergroup.
And Joe Cocker's With a Little Help from My Friends. So powerful.
The whole vibe, that nonviolence sharing. Even the police were impressed.
But then, just a few months later, Altamont.
Yeah. The Rolling Stones' free concert. Violence, a stabbing.
Such a contrast. If Woodstock was the peak of the Summer of Love dream, Altamont felt like the harsh reality check. The symbolic end.
So as the 60s ended, often on that sobering note, rock didn't disappear. It kind of fractured, right? Exploded into all these subgenres in the 70s.
Diversification, each pushing boundaries in new ways.
Classic rock kept evolving. Bands like Queen embracing theatricality.
Freddie Mercury, what a frontman. Unbelievable stage presence.
And the production on Bohemian Rhapsody, 3 weeks on 24-track tape. That's ambitious.
Seriously complex. Then you had glam rock emerge. Very visual, theatrical.
David Bowie as Ziggy Stardust, creating this whole persona.
Yeah, the prefabricated rock star idea, playing with identity spectacle. And Elton John.
Landmark albums, Goodbye, Yellow Brick Road, master songwriter, amazing showman.
The visual side, the concepts became almost as important as the music itself for some acts.
Absolutely. And hard rock, heavy metal just kept rolling. Aerosmith giving us Dream On.
Thin Lizzy. The boys are back in town. Those twin guitar harmonies became their thing.
And then Kiss.
Oh boy. Taking the stage show to a whole other level. Makeup, fire breathing.
Merchandising. They became this huge brand, the Kiss Army.
Less a band, more a phenomenon. Talk about knowing your market.
Progressive rock also hit new peaks. Pink Floyd's stadium shows.
Right.
The Wall.
Literally building a wall on stage during the show. And David Gilmour's solo on Comfortably Numb. Just iconic, emotional, technical brilliance.
Rush, Genesis with Peter Gabriel's costumes. Complex music, big ideas.
Yeah, the 70s really embraced spectacle, complexity, and interesting genre blends too.
Like country rock, that blend of acoustic twang and rock energy.
Rod Stewart's Maggie May had elements of that. Neil Young's Harvest.
The Allman Brothers Band, Ramblin' Man, Lynyrd Skynyrd, Sweet Home Alabama.
Which is kind of wrapped up in that whole controversy with Neil Young's Southern Man.
Yeah, adds another layer of irony. And live albums were huge in the 70s.
Oh, yeah. Peter Frampton's Frampton Comes Alive. Massive seller.
A lot of songs, their definitive versions were the live ones. And Frampton's Talk Box.
That effect, making the guitar sing. Very cool. Very distinctive.
And through all this, the Motown influence was still felt.
Definitely. Marvin Gaye, Aretha Franklin. Their music kept adding that depth, that soulfulness to the bigger picture. Emotion was still key.
And it was a big decade for women in rock, too.
Hugely important. Heart with Ann Wilson. What a voice. People said she could sing Zeppelin better than Plant.
And Nancy Wilson on guitar. Killer player. Crazy on You.
Then the Runaways.
Mm-hmm.
All-female band, Joan Jett getting her start. First top 40 hit by an all-female rock band in '71.
And Stevie Nicks, joining Fleetwood Mac. Her voice, her style.
Transformed them. Rumors. One of the biggest albums ever.
These women weren't just participating, they were fundamentally changing the sound, the face of rock.
Exactly. And as the '70s closed out, you get another reaction. Punk rock.
Raw, stripped down, a reaction against maybe the excesses of '70s rock.
Yeah, perceived grandiosity. Sex Pistols, Sid Vicious, pure defiance, minimalist energy.
Influencing bands like The Clash, even The Cars in a more polished way.
But amidst the noise, powerful songwriting still mattered. John Lennon's Imagine.
Simple, profound message for the world. Rock could still do that.
But the '70s also had that darker side. The 27 Club.
Yeah, that tragic pattern. Hendrix in '70, Duane Allman '71, Barry Oakley '72, Brian Jones back in '69. All 27.
Such incredible talent lost so young. A really chilling part of the story.
What a profoundly influential and, yeah, often tragic period. Those losses really underscore the intensity, maybe the self-destructive side of that creative boom.
For sure. Yet even as the '70s ended on those notes, rock was already gearing up for its next big change.
The '80s, hard rock, heavy metal really taking over. AC/DC, Metallica, Guns N' Roses, plus new wave.
Yeah, and distinct movements within metal, too. Glam metal Van Halen, Kiss making a comeback.
Yeah.
Thrash metal Metallica, Slayer.
And metal spread globally, right? Tape trading, big festivals like Rock and Rio.
Absolutely, and it just kept evolving. Death metal, black metal, new metal in the '90s. It's still thriving today, globally.
All tracing back to the foundations laid in those incredibly dynamic '60s and '70s.
It really is a testament to that era.
Well, that brings us towards the end of this deep dive. What a ride, huh?
Incredible journey.
We've gone from rock's blended roots through the British invasion, psychedelia, hard rocks, heavy metal, Motown soul.
Yeah, the '60s and '70s truly transformed everything, laid the groundwork for decades of creativity, evolution, cultural impact.
This look back really highlights that unique mix of influences, the raw emotion, the surprising innovations that made it all so vibrant, so vital.
It really was a Renaissance period. And, rock's legacy, its power, it still resonates. So maybe something for you, the listener, to think about. Rock music has this history of reflecting social change, challenging norms. What music today do you think is really speaking its mind, sparking those conversations about our world?
That's a great question. Maybe explore some more artists from these decades we talked about, or listen out for modern music that carries that same spirit, that honesty, that raw feeling.